それではお時間となりましたので、ただいまより鹿児島大学世界展開力事業国際シンポジウム多極化時代の人生の歩み方ラテラルの世界の新たな道しるべを開催いたします。本日の司会を務めさせていただきます鹿児島大学グローバルセンター特任講師の南波美希と申します。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。本シンポジウムは日英同時通訳がオンラインの方では入りますので、オンラインでご参加の皆様、英語音声で聞きたいという方は、言語を英語に変更してください。For those of you who would like to listen to the symposium in English, please click interpretation in the meeting controls and select English so that you can hear the simultaneous interpretation. はい。ご準備よろしいでしょうか。オンラインでご参
Are
加
you
の。
ready?
それでは、
For those who join online, before start of the symposium, I have something to ask you who participate online during the symposium. Please set your microphone off and please show your name in alphabets as shown before. It is appeared right now, but please describe your name in alphabet. To change your name, when you set your cursor to the name, your name, you can do it. As for the video camera, if there is no problem, please set it on to have a more realistic conference. But during the symposium, we'll take several screenshots, which will be posted on the website later. And for those who cannot participate today, this session will be recorded and published in the symposium website. And if you have any problem to show your face, you can set your video camera off. And during the symposium, we will receive your comments and questions via the chat box. Please feel free to write them. During the Q&A session, your questions will be answered. And at the end of the symposium, questionnaire link will be automatically shown. So please answer the questionnaire. Today, in the afternoon, as an afternoon session, so that we look back the past 5 years of this project to summarize. So if you have time, please join the afternoon session as well. So let's get the conference started. So as opening remarks, that we received a video message from Professor Akira Sano from the president of Kagoshima University. Please watch the video.
皆様おはようございます。学長を務めております佐野でございます。大学の世界展開力事業2022年度、国際シンポジウムの開会にあたり、ご挨拶を申し上げます。鹿児島大学では教育目標としてグローバルな視野を持ち、国際社会の発展に貢献できる、実践的な能力を育むことを掲げています。国際レベルの教育の質の担保を進め、多様な教育制度、入試制度を活用して、一層の教育の国際化を図るとともに、グローバルな視点に基づき、地域で活躍できる人材の育成に向け、地域との共同に基づく学びをさらに拡充し、地域特性を生かした体験型教育を推進しております。この目標を達成するため、文部科学省の大学の世界展開力強化事業、米国から鹿児島、そしてアジアへ、多極化時代の3極連携プログラムを核として、グローバル教育を実施しているところでございます。この事業では、本学が中心となり、米国の9つの大学、アジア諸国の9つの大学から、なる3極連携を構築することで、 鹿児島の自然環境や、地域社会をフィールドに、地理的最短性や、文化的境界性を、特徴とする課題解決型リサーチプログラムの開発や、オンライン共同学習、コイル、等によって、世界的な課題の解決や、地域社会の持続可能な発展に取り組んでいるところでございます。本日は事業が、最終年度を迎えるにあたり、これまでの5年間を振り返り、多極化時代の人生の歩み方、ラテラールな世界の新たな道しるべをテーマとして、国際連携の意義について、米国やアジアの連携校、地域の企業や市民の皆様との連携がますます強固になり、本学のグローバル教育がより一層推進することを記念いたしまして、私からの挨拶とさせていただきます。
はい、ありがとうございました。それでは次に本シンポジウムの
President Sano, thank you very much. And then the aim of Global Development Ability Promotion Project or Inter-University Exchange Project will be explained by advisor to the President, Ms. Keiko Unedaya.
Thank you for your introduction. Good morning, everyone. So let me take off my face mask. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us early this morning. Let me explain the overall structure of the symposium, followed by the background of part one, as the President explained. And also, let me explain the reason why we have planned this symposium. Today's symposium is divided into part one in the morning. I'm afraid that the venue is still busy, I'm afraid. And in the part two in the afternoon, both in person and via online streaming. The theme of the morning session is a journey of life in the multipolar age, a new milestone of the lateral world, which will also our theme for a discussion. In the afternoon session, we'll review the 5-year inter-university exchange project, which is now in its final year, and talk about the possibilities and problems for the future. In addition, a third part, our virtual symposium, will be held online at a later date. We did the same thing at the previous symposium. We have the 18 partner universities, so the faculty members and the students from the universities and our university will have a chance to exchange opinions and impression, as well as freely comment on the 5-year review of this project for about a month, based on the recording of the symposium. Now, that's all about the overall structure of the symposium. Let me briefly explain the U.S. Kagoshima Asia Triad Inter-University Exchange Project. This year is the final year of the project, and since AY 2018, Kagoshima University has been selected for the Inter-University Exchange Project with the United States and other countries utilizing COIL-type education, subsidized by the Ministry of Education. As our university is geographically close to Asian countries and has deep academic relationships with such countries, we envisioned a trilateral collaboration between Asia and Kagoshima University, in addition to the United States. As the core of the project, specifically, on the right-hand side. So there are tripart research and also coil based. So we relied on this structure. And I believe that there are many up and coming faculty members who have close academic ties with sources in the United States and Asia. So thanks to the cooperation of these teachers, we have set 9 courses available on this slide, far left. And we have received and dispatched students. And as for pre-study, we offered an online-based training or learning to enhance the result of this training program. And when we receive overseas students, we have taken advantage of the expertise of each course to let them visit local companies that deal with some meat processing companies or factories or a fish market, hospital, elementary schools, including remote islands, etc., so that overseas students could understand local issues and how to respond to them, compare our local environment with theirs, and think about how to apply solutions to each area. And we were able to create good practices a lot. And the program was able to provide concrete examples of international exchange education initiatives in Kagoshima in response to the major proposition of local and global. And in the morning session, as you can see here, in response to the initiatives under this project, we set the theme mentioned earlier from the perspective of local and global. Today's theme has an expression, lateral world, which here means a world in which companies, municipalities, and individuals in each region is directly connected in both directions. So far, we tend to focus on longitude relationship or longitude world, but now, thanks to the advancement of technology, we can be connected laterally between local and global. Based on such a perspective, starting from Kagoshima, we are inviting Nippon Biomedical Laboratories and also Uniba Trading will have a presentation for today. And also we are having 2 students who have actually participated in this project, one from Kagoshima and the other one from overseas of foreign countries. Then after that, we will have a discussion to think together about the path we should take in the future from the perspective of connecting the global and the local. I hope you will enjoy the symposium. Thank you. Professor Unedaya, thank you very much. Now, let me move on to keynote speech for today. The first one, we'd like to invite Ken Takanashi, Executive Vice President of Shin Nippon Biomedical Laboratories, or SNBL. The company is headquartered in Kagoshima City, and the first CRO in Japan who have business in the world. And today's theme, so today I'd like to invite Takanashi-san.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So I'm Takanashi from SNBL. So today's topic is a message from Kagoshima for companies and people in a borderless world. It is a messages from Kagoshima. That's the key. So today, the people from outside of Japan will listen. So my explanation is Japanese, but the language used for the slide is English. As introduced, currently I am Executive Vice President of Nippon Medical Laboratories. After graduating university, I worked for the trading company. And 20 years ago, I entered SNBL, which was not listed at that time, but Tosho or first section, the company was listed finally, and global and new business development are my missions. And more, I established more than 30 projects of the businesses. So I am a board member. One of them is for several companies. One of them is Satsuma Pharmaceuticals, which is listed in the Nasdaq, and TIMS is listed in the Tosho, and we received the award, the IPO 4 times. Today, my key is are 5. The firstly, SNBL means Nippon Biomedical Laboratories. So I will introduce this group. And the second point is a borderless world, which is a topic of today's symposium. So I will share my insight with you. And then third will be the challenges for companies. And the fourth, so each of us, including a student, have to do something in the future, and I will touch on the required personality in regard to that. And finally, I will touch on the Kagoshima. And 1957, our company was established. And as for the mission of this company, the environment, life, and human resources are the keys. So our company is a life science company. And recently, SDGs and the sustainable world are the hot words. And life science, which is our business, is something to do with people's lives. Currently, in Japan and US and Asia, our group company have about 30 companies. So other than that, we have NPO activities like hospitals and schools, or other companies which are now listed. And the number of the employee is 1,500, and in total, the whole groups, 2,500 employees are working. And this is a business portfolio. And please look at the left side. That's the pharmaceutical development process. Firstly, we do non-clinical trials using animals to get data. And then after that, we enter clinical trials. And then our pharmaceuticals approved finally. And recently, vaccination is a hot topic. So actually, the more than 30 projects are developed. In these processes, the necessary data created. So we support getting data. So they are, please look at the green part, which is the entity to do preclinical studies. And as for the basic research, as global in US and Asia, or subsidiaries, we expand the business segment. And please look at the yellow parts. So the Mediapolis, which is located in Ibusuki, there is a large land. Based on that area, we pursue the social benefit, and we do business in regard to the environment and medicines as well. So please look at each place of the our bases in Kagoshima. So here is the research institute in Kagoshima City. So not only in Kagoshima, now we have a facility. This facility is very important, not only for Kagoshima, but globally. So as for the sales, it accounts for more than half. The people who come from overseas to do research in these facilities. So these facilities are very important for the development of the medicine, and the needs are increasing even. So when our company was listed, uh, uh, actually the main office was shifted to this place, although the registration status was not changed. But we established or built the 8-story building, which was used as a headquarters. So here, various kind of animal experiments are being conducted. And so we are number one for the research using non-human primates, NHPs. In addition to that, in Wakayama, we have a bioanalyst center, which has very advanced devices for analysis. So in Japan, this is one of the top facilities as well. And here we have Inai Research Institute, whose businesses are similar to those in Kagoshima. And we purchased this company. And this company is 100% subsidiaries of our company, SNBL. From 1974, this company has continued a very famous company, but to be globally competitive, we have to increase the scale to meet customers' needs. So we cooperate with this institute, and we discussed with the owner of this institute, Mr. Sato, and currently we do our business together with this entity. In US, in 1999, we established another facility in Seattle, Boeing. We have a large land as well. The same facilities as that of Kagoshima was established. The same the global standards are used to operate this facility. So the name of this company is now Alta Science Pharmaceutical Seattle. And this is NHP resource supply chain. So we focus on environmental contribution. So in-house, we control and manage all the operations not to harm environment and animals. according to the very strict regulations of US and Cambodia, China, we established facilities, and from those facilities, we get the animals for experiment. So this page shows the NHP resource supply chain. And from here, I will touch on clinical studies. And after that, after the animal experiment, we administer the drugs to human. The business started in 1999. Other than Kagoshima and Tokyo, Osaka, we are doing operations at staff members 750. And they try to get the data to develop necessary drugs. So although there are some risks for the contraction of the diseases, but they go to the actual places to get the data. And this is a joint company of PPD and SNBL. Now we are doing a global clinical study. So in many places, we are doing research or the studies at the same time. So to do so, we need a global joint venture company. So we established PPD, SNBLKK. And this company is in Maryland, Baltimore. So it is a public medical university with a history of 200 years, which is a University of Medicine University of Maryland, Baltimore. So we have this is a venture company between the private company and the public university. So we share the medical information, JD, to contribute to the benefits of the society in the medical field. In 2005, in the Maryland University, there is a park. So we made the subsidiary company with the 97 beds. This is our subsidiary company. The name is Farmaron CPC to get the clinical data, which is a global company. Here, so this is a joint venture with Farmaron CPC, which create the compounds. And this shows the CRO business. And from more than 20 years ago, we started a transnational research business. So universities and startup companies, technologies should be utilized. So we are partners, we cooperate with each other to promote this kind of business. And so we use IP, intelligent property, and to do so, we use functions of CRO. And finally, pharmaceutical companies, in some cases, or their company themselves, open their stocks to raise their scale. So in this concept, so that in our company, SNBL, we have specific technologies, which is nasal delivery system. So we administer drugs from the nose. This is our very original technologies. So the device and pharmaceuticals or drugs are used to administer a compound from the nose for effective absorption. And drugs are transported from the nose to the brain. And as for the vaccinations, usually we are vaccinated if, by injection, but we use these technologies for vaccination. So vaccination can be done by using our technology from the nose. And based on this technology, in 2016, we established this company to solve the problems of migraine. In US, 40,000 migraine patients are suffering. So in that location, we develop the related drugs. And the name of the company is Satsuma Pharmaceuticals in US. This company is a lead to develop the drugs to treat migraine. In 2019, we established, we are listed on NASDAQ, and US investors invest us. So now that we finished the phase 3 study, and as earliest next year, we can do a NDA application. So similarly, this shows a translational research concept. 2008 and 9 at Tokyo University and Harvard University professors help to establish our subsidiary in Japan. And then we integrated all the functions to create Wave Life Sciences. And after that, there was, and we received the venture fund from Ginko in Kagoshima, and we spin out. In 2015, we did IPO, and we are proceeding with the new company, new drug development. So in this company, the molecules are created by and in this company, the drugs for rare diseases are being developed. And here is another company. This is the venture company. By using natural elements, the drugs are developed. In our company, we are working as a CRO and consultant for this company. So the disease to be treated with this drug is cerebral infarction or stroke. In Japan, after the long term of clinical studies, we get the data for acute ischemic stroke, AIS. So this drug has a potential to be a blockbuster in the world. The last week, 27th of November, the company was listed. I'm sorry, I can't hear the original sound. From global companies, we have received investment to develop this drug. And as a newly listed company, this company is proceeding with their activities. And lastly, this is the Rika Therapeutics. This is a joint company with Harvard University. For Harvard University, this is the first time for them to do joint venture company, and the target drug is anti-depression drug.
This translational research is supported by many companies as well. And the point here is how to control IP. So IP should be transferred from the person to the person who needs it. And this is why we have established a subsidiary called Genseki in 2017 to connect related people. And also this company has its own fund or venture fund. So this company is operating or managing venture fund as well, and starting from seed stage, early stage, middle stage, and later stage. So the company is supporting many companies as CRO as well as by financing. So this is a kind of new structure. So this is the third business of SMBL, that is Medipolis business. Okay, the feature of this business is completely different from other businesses on my company. And there is a vacant area, a large vacant area owned by the government. And when our company listed in the stock market in 2004, we decided to contribute to local area. Then we purchased this vacant land from the government to revitalize the area. So that is why we call this business as social benefits contribution business. And one of the biggest features of our business is about proton therapy and research center based on our advanced technology. So we irradiate the tumors precisely with a proton beam and to cure the diseases. And we have applied this beam or this business to many diseases. And this center opened in 2011. And then we have three concepts to support this Medipolis business. One is Amafulu. This is high-end resort. People can stay here and eat, so enjoy dishes and relax. And the middle part is resort, retreat resort. This is for long stay. So I think that many people who like to work on a remote basis, this facility would be very good for that kind of people. And third one is medical resort hotel. So actually the patients who receive proton therapy don't have to have surgery, so they can be outpatient to receive this treatment there. And then this facility would be very useful for such patients to commute to the research center. And also renewable energy or geothermal power generation business is conducted as a part of Medipolis business, and this can rated output is 1,580 kilowatt, and we are utilizing natural energy to generate power. When it comes to geothermal power, we can utilize natural resources 24 hours. In other words, we can supply geothermal energy very stably. We are also researching about glass eel production. We are researching how to mass produce glass eel production. And we like to increase the number of glass eel production based on artificial seed production. And we are now have a facility or laboratory on the island of Okino-Elabu in Kagoshima Prefecture. In summary, number one, CRO business. This is our core business that supports medical business. And based on Kagoshima, we are deploying our business in the United States and Asian countries. So there are no borders when it comes to pharmaceutical business. Number two, translational business or TR business. Technology will be split starting from Japan by transferring such technology to the United States or have a company in the United States and so on. Number 3 is Medipolis business for social contribution. Now, let me move on to the second topic of my presentation. The title is, what is a borderless world? I'd like to share with you my own idea. The internet realized digital society and consisting of big data, metaverse, 5G, quantum computer. I believe that you are very familiar with these keywords of the day. We are living in virtual world, and wherever we go, there are no border. In other words, we can collect a lot of information from anywhere around the world. And such an environment, transportation infrastructure has been developed. So people, goods, and services are being communicated among others so freely. This is also borderless. However, once the pandemic occurs, so all the people have to suffer from big inconvenience. But basically, the world as a whole is being borderless. And furthermore, a lot of services are available now. I think this is very interesting phenomenon. So suppose that we have produced cars and electric appliances and so on and sell them to consumers. However, now there is a shift from hardware to software. So everything is based on service. And suppose that now auto manufacturer is not only manufacturing cars, but the mission of such companies are to provide consumers with good service, not only car itself. So from the changes, so based on the changes from hardware to software, the border or wall of industry is also being disappeared. And also right-hand side, that many increasing number of companies try to sell time, such as Uber and so on. So time itself can be sold. And furthermore, Airbnb. So the traditional concept of business has been drastically changed. So we are living in such a period. This is also related to borderless. So diversity, gender, race, nationalities. So as for gender, maybe we are starting to listen to a new concept of gender, such as unisex and so on. And also race, there are many people who have not only one, but several races. So in that sense, gender, race, and nationalities are being mixed to create a diversified society. And furthermore, so this is about our life. We are living in the area called the 100-year life. In the past, so after graduating from our college we entered in a company and work in the same company. And then after retirement, we live a very relaxing life. However, the situation has been changing a lot in this perspective as well. So we are facing the tendency of reskilling or recurrent education. So joining the society, more and more people go back to school to receive education again, and then go back to company again. We are also witnessing university industry collaboration. One of the examples is venture companies originating from university. So companies and universities are being collaborated each other. In the past, so faculty member is faculty member, and a management of company was management company, but there are no such differences anymore. So although I am a teacher, but I also works at a company and vice versa. So in this sense, the border between company, society, university, and so on are being disappeared as well. And one more thing, this will be very so difficult to explain, but this is like a concept related to concept of economy. You can see the word slow down economy, population, GDP, energies are growing. However, there will be a limit, of course. So now there is a tendency of degrowth. So far, people believe that economy should grow. However, we are facing the limit. And also, as I mentioned earlier about the service, but now we are living in the era of subscription economy. So we pay money to receive service. So the concept of ownership is disappearing. And also the concept of ownership is meaningless, so to speak. And number three, free economy. So information versus information value. And also money itself is being changed from physical money to digital currency. And there are lots of important things in the world. However, such important things has been invisible. So it is very difficult to measure what is important and what is not important. So the mechanism or framework of capitalism itself is not useful anymore. It doesn't function well because of the disappearing border in every field. So based on such idea, now, what kind of issues companies are facing? Now, so far, companies focused on financial information or financial performance. However, recently, non-financial aspect is becoming more important, such as ESG, SDGs, and so on. And listed companies are obliged to issue annual security report, but recently, such companies also publish sustainability report or integrated report to show to increase the value of a corporation by integrating financial aspect and non-financial aspect. Not only customers, but also consumers, company members, and the environment, surrounding environment, and so on. These factors should be taken balanced to continue business. then that is what is very important thing for corporation is corporate branding. The significance of company's existence is being questioned. Our company is focusing on life science. That's why we are operating the global businesses. Now, let me focus on each individual. What is required for you going forward? Let me mention 3 points. Number 1, identity. What kind of identity do you have? So you have to have a strong identity rooted in the community and tradition. So we have to have a strong identity. It is becoming important in the borderless world. Number 2, after finding a strong identity, we, human as a whole, have to think about the happiness of humankind. As a humankind or as a human being, what we should do to contribute to the entire world or to contribute to the happiness of humankind as a whole. On the other hand, even if we have a strong identity, we have to living in the borderless world by communicating each other. So in that sense, we have to have open mind to communicate diversified people freely and on a proactive manner. Based on these 3 factors, I believe that we can be active in the world. Then, let me talk about Kagoshima. First, of course, Kagoshima is located in Japan. I'm afraid I cannot hear his voice due to some communication. And so although the Japan is very small country, small island countries, and also suffered from a lot of natural disasters such as typhoon and so on. But people living in Japan don't want to or don't have any intention to leave from Japan or Kagoshima. So because natural disaster or other things are, as a matter of fact, to some extent, for Japanese people. And we, people in Kagoshima, also face or living in such an environment. We are naturally adapt to the natural environment by taking into account the importance of the environment. We are living in such an environment, and then
In
Kagoshima
Japan,
is also blessed with a lot of industries and culture. In that sense, I think that the Kagoshima is a kind of source of a unique culture of Japan and embodies it. And through the framework of Japan, from Kagoshima, we are doing business to the world, in the world. And lastly, so this is for Kagoshima University. Kagoshima University is based on a very important area in the world. And the university is, of course, academic facility, an institution that connects, that can be a bridge between Japanese people and the people around the world. And so a lot of communications. So Kagoshima University plays an important role locally and globally as well. This concludes my presentation. Thank you very much. Mr. Takanashi, thank you very much for your inspiring presentation and very important message. So actually, after all the so if you have any questions, please write down your question in the chat box. So we will have a Q&A session after all the presentation. When you send a message, be sure to please make sure that the destination is all. From now on, we like to take a 6-minute break. So we like to resume the session at 10 o'clock Japan time. 6-minute break. Thank you very much.
So the last half of the morning session will restart. The second keynote speaker, the president of Yumiba Trading, Mr. Akinobu Yumiba, will talk on the Kagoshima to Global Exporting Agriculture, Forestry, and Fishery Product. The Yumiba Trading is based on Kagoshima City, expanding its business globally. It is a general trading company. They export the agricultural, forestry, and fishery product, and import feed materials and fertilizers of southern Kyushu. Mr. Yumiba, please.
My name is Yumiba from Yumiba Trading. I'm afraid I cannot hear him well. SNBL has Proton Center in Ibusuki. So I had an honor to visit there in the past. And there are lots of devices to irradiate tumor with proton beam. I also stayed there and enjoyed a lot. That was a very wonderful opportunity for me. And listening to his presentation, the ideal state and the current state of SNBL, I learned a lot from his presentation. So in that sense, I spent a very good time. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. Now, let me start my presentation. I like to focus on local aspect, starting from Kagoshima to global, as my title mentioned. About 41 years ago, I started my business without any specific knowledge about trading and experience. But for some reason, I happened to start my trading business. And I like to talk about what kind of business I have been doing so far. So how can I change my slide? Thank you. Okay. Let me introduce myself, and followed by I'd like to talk about Japan Overseas Cooperation Volunteers. 15 years ago, I participated in JOCV and went to Malaysia. And I like to also talk about the activities in Malaysia and the background why I started a trading company. Then number 5, I like to talk about the explanation, in particular, export of agriculture products. And the government had a target of 2 trillion yen by 2025 and 5 trillion yen by 2050. This is the government target. And what the idea of the government will be introduced or explained by myself. And what kind of initiative or efforts you mean by trading is doing. And number 6, I have involved in volunteer activities, so I like to talk about how to nurture the youth. In particular, how to dispatch younger generation to other countries, and so on. And also, I visit a school to deliver a speech to students and so on. And lastly, I'd like to mention messages to students. But I think that Mr. Takanashi also covered this topic, so my talk might overlap what he said. But so I hope you will enjoy my talk. Let me start from my self-introduction. I was born in Iju in town, Hiyoki City. And actually, I am the 8th of 6 boys and 3 girls. My family has many children because at that time, the population was not decreasing. And the parents were farmers, and they produces leaf tobacco, sweet potatoes, vegetables, and so on. So in my childhood, I supported and helped my parents. So that was a normal situation of my childhood. Kids supported and helped parents. And I also was a paper boy during my junior and senior high school days. And after graduating from high school, I found a job at a lab of welding rod manufacturer. And there I studied a basic of welding rod business. But at that time, I didn't know whether that was a way to go for me. So I started to explore my future by reading historical novel one after another for my future. Kagoshima is surrounded by the sea, and over the sea or across the sea, what countries are there? I was wondering. Then So I was wondering what I should do. And after visiting foreign countries, I stayed there for a while, and also wondering I should go back to Kagoshima or not. And I decided not and continue my travel without any specific plan. I visited a country and tried to find where to stay there through the communication with local people. Of course, at the time, I didn't speak any foreign languages, so I had very big trouble. But I enjoyed my encounter with local people a lot. Then I happened to see, after going back to Kagoshima, I happened to see a poster of Japan Overseas Cooperation Volunteers, or JOCV, and I noticed I was able to go to foreign countries financed by the Japanese government. As you may know, JOCV is financed by ODA budget of the Japanese government. And one of the projects conducted by JICA and what kind of initiatives we can do through JOCV. These are the topic of this JOCV project. And there are three purposes of this project. One is contribution to development and restoration of economy and society of developing countries. Number two, the deepening and coexistence among multicultural society. Number three is social contribution through volunteer activities. And Malaysia, let me talk about activities, what I did in Malaysia. In 1965, Malaysia, Laos, Cambodia, and Indonesia, I visited. And one of my destinations was Malaysia. I was very surprised to know that there are many people with different ethnicity, and the people were living together despite such differences. And while living there, of course, Malay people accounted for the most in Malaysia. And not only Malay people, but also I communicated with Chinese people as well. Malaysia is such a multi-ethnic country, and people lived together based on a certain social rules. This is what I noticed there. And during my stay, I worked for vocational training school. That means I had school holidays. During the holiday, I visited Indonesia, Thailand, Laos, and so on. In particular, in Indonesia, there are lots of children on the street doing their own business and so on. Actually, local children didn't have time to think about their future or dream their future. And I noticed the differences between such a country and Japan there. I was dispatched to Kotabao on Malay Peninsula. Kotabalo is located at the north of Malay Peninsula, opposite side of Penang. I was dispatched to that area. As the elderly may know, Kotabalu was a place where the Japanese military landed and went to Singapore from Kotabalu. And of course, there is a language barrier there. Even after 3 months language training in Japan, it was very difficult for me to communicate with local people with local language. But by communicating with many people, I tried to develop my language school. And I happen to know that from 1942 to 1944, Japanese military was there, and I knew what they did. They did good thing and bad thing. Also, I was born after the end of World War, so I didn't know what happened during the Second World War, but I felt very sorry for what the Japanese military did at the time. And since the end of the World War, actually local people had no chance to talk with Japanese people. That's why they let me know what happened during the war. And the local people said sorry for touching on such a thing. They had not had opportunity to talk with Japanese people since the end of World War, and I noticed the importance of communication as well. And these are my students at a vocational school. It's very difficult to find out where I am. Actually, I am just in the middle of this picture. And after 2 years stay in Malaysia, of course, I had to go back to Japan, but I decided to travel other countries, including the former Soviet Union. In order to go to Rome, I had to stay 2 nights in Moscow, actually. When I stayed in a hotel, So people stayed there, talked ill about the Soviet Union. I was alone, so maybe that person talked a lot to me. At that time, so I didn't hear that talk. Based on my intuition, I shouldn't have talked with that person. Anyway, so I went to Europe, but I like to go to the United States in the end, but it was very difficult to obtain visa to go to the United States back then. And partly due to the incident, gun-related this incident at the time, it was very difficult to obtain visa from the United States. During my stay in Malaysia and the Soviet Union, I noticed the importance of acquiring foreign language. That's why after arriving in the UK, I went to English language school. And after a 4-month stay, again, I did want to continue my travel without going back to Kagoshima, but I decided to go back to Japan because one of my older brother did his own job in Osaka. I decided to join the company. I was wondering what I should do to realize my dream. I decided to save money, and after having 10 million yen, I went back to Kagoshima. I'm afraid there seems to be some problem. I decided to do a trading business, partly because my friend, one of my friends left Kagoshima. In particular, 70% of men left Kagoshima, and 30% of women left Kagoshima. I heard this kind of story from my friend, and I thought if there was enough job, not so many people had to leave the homeland. So if I created a job, people would be able to stay there. And at that time, one of the Japanese paper have a serial article about small company with large capital. At that time, there were 18 such companies in Kagoshima. And I was wondering what I should do. And I noticed there is a Sakurajima mountain, and there should be light stones. And there might be something that could be exported to other countries. Based on such idea, I started my trading business. Recently, the government has talked a lot about the export of agriculture. I'm afraid I cannot change my slide. And let me talk about what a trading business is, in particular, the export of agriculture products of Japan. As you may be familiar with this graph, this is about the trend of export of agriculture products and food in Japan. Under the pandemic, fishery products of Hokkaido, which accounted for a vast amount of the export, was very stagnant under the pandemic. So in 2020, the export volume was not able to achieve the target. But in 2021, the volume reached 1.2 trillion yen. And in 2022, up until September, there was an increase of 14.9% when it comes to the export. And this slide shows the government policy to promote export. I'm afraid due to time constraint, I'm not going into detail, but this is a basic policy. Specifically, so this slide is about a strategy to expand export. There is a priority items listed. There are 28 priority items for export. And such items contain Kagoshima-based product. There are lots of specific plans to enhance. And what kind of business should be supported? This kind of information is available on internet, so let me skip detailed explanation.
And then, 28 items are shown here. As you see, Kagoshima is strong with the export of beef in Olympics. In 6 out of 28, we won beef, pork, chicken, eggs, and vegetables, sweet potatoes, the tea, buri, irochel, and Thai red bean, and some sweet specific to the Kagoshima using sweet potatoes are strong together with miso, shoyu. So out of 28 Kagoshima-based produce are designated as widely known items. And this is the export result year-on-year base. So we see how the sales grow in export, and many of them are from Kagoshima. So the logs, as for the export of logs, Shibushi Port is #1 in Japan. And as for red bream, as I said, so it's strong in export. So the base, on average, 25% growth can be shown, but some of them grew more. For example, buri, yellow tail, 42.6% growth is shown, and the red green tea, 26.1%, which is similar to the average. And pot-planted tree, which is a strong item of Kagoshima. The last year, the sales growth was minus, but cyclid on the trees specific to Kagoshima will grow. And we can see rapid growth in for the export of eggs. 27.9% growth is shown for the export growth of eggs. Here, you can see the actual status of the export of Japan, and let's look at each region. You can see from #1 to 10th. #1 is China right now. In the past, #1 was Hong Kong, but right now, #1 is China. And please look at the yellow part. Those items are produced in Kagoshima as well. And red ones, the Kagoshima's expertise. And from Kagoshima, those items are exported. And Kagoshima is a livelihood prefecture, and we export the skin part of pork. So as a raw material, the raw pork skin is salted and exported. So we add additional values to our items, which is promoted by our governor. So there is a possibility to increase the sales of pork skin and together with red spring. And it is processed, and a Gucci, very famous brand, use the skin that we produce. So in the future, we can produce more products in this field. So the skin of the pork or pigs, actually, sorry, it's not the pork, but the pigs is our strong product. Maybe my talk is prolonged. I am an analog person. Sorry. Please wait for a while. Now we have a technical problem.
すみません。これはもう今ですね、南九州からどういったもの
So
が
from southern Kyushu, what kind of items are exported based on Shiboshi port? In Kagoshima, as export port, we have Shiboshi, Kagoshima, Sendai port for export. So the southern Kyushu items can be exported from those ports. So here shows the primary industry of Kagoshima, fishery, agriculture, and forestry of Kagoshima. I will touch on that part. So as for the output, we are second, following Hokkaido. So we have a high potential to produce more product. So number one, pork, beef, and poultry, sweet potato, broiler, green tea. There are many items for which we are number one as far as the export or the sales or the production is concerned. Here is the items of the forestry. Many of them are bamboo-related products, and this shows the fishery product. So we are strong with culturing yellowtails or greater yellowtail and prawn and eel. So we are number one for those products. And the government set a target of the volume of the export, and Kagoshima also set the target. And how much items are exported from Kagoshima? And number one destination for our export is the US. So I didn't touch on this part so much, but for US, we cover a large variety of items for export. And as for the export to China, scallop number one, and for Hong Kong, pearl is number one. And as for the US, the Kagoshima produced items are exported, and 14.5 billion yen is the export amount to the US. Here shows the Kagoshima Prefecture's export target. So I was a member of creating this vision, and 30 billion yen was a target, but we reached the agreement to achieve this target. Actually, we already achieved this target. Here you can see the target of 31 billion point 1,000 yen. Maybe the next target will be 50 billion due to rapid growth of the primary industry product of Kagoshima. And here shows our Yumiba trading companies' business activities. Our activities are export and import, and target exporting company in number one is US, Canada, Taiwan, Indonesia, India, Singapore, Malaysia. And as for the export items, Kagoshima-based items such as yellowtail, beef, the processed sea product, are the main products. It's difficult to send the fresh material by air, but if we send them in a frozen status, the material or the product can be still fresh. and they are well received. And as for the sweet potatoes, the China-based peoples love sweet potato-related products. And from Kagoshima, we export sweet potatoes. But in some countries, the fresh vegetables or the fruits not allowed to be imported. In Canada, it's okay. So as for the primary industry product, there are various kinds of regulations in each country. So we have to look at the details of the regulations. And in US, the fresh vegetables or fruits are not allowed. So if we process those products like baked potatoes, we can export them to the US. So in Kagoshima, food industry is very flourished, including noodles and condiment. In regard to export businesses, so you can see bicycles as one of the import items. We import a finished product, but also a semi-finished product and materials. So we produce a variety of products. So for those products, we import the materials as well. So in the past, in the southern Kyushu, the specific kind of trees, the camphor trees, were produced. And the barks of the trees were powdered and used for incense. And we also produce we imported chemical fertilizers in the past. But to the China set higher tariff for those items, and we have now difficulty to export those products to China. And these are our focuses. And US, Europe are our target areas for export. We using various routes. We export our product. So we try to increase added value to our product. For example, egg rolls, because we export a lot of eggs to Hong Kong, Taiwan. So we process eggs to make egg rolls to be exported to the US or other countries. And another item is green tea, organically grown tea, green tea. Actually, 70% of the export of teas to Canada is organically grown tea, and to Europe. Also, we try to produce the product grown without using chemicals. So actually, we use the Nijiyama market, which is a Japan-based supermarket. We use that company for export. So from Mexico, so we want to import silver product. Sorry, so the Nijiyama market started with the silver trading. And in San Diego, they set the first store at San Diego, Hawaii, in New York. Nijiyama market expanded the number of their stores. And the other day, President visited Kagoshima to visit the family graveyard. And at that time, he visited the plant in Kagoshima, and Nijiyama Market wanted to import the product from Kagoshima, and I was a consultant at that time. And monthly 40-feet containers, 2 40-feet containers are used for the export right now to Nijiyama Market. And the export items to the US, the Kagoshima and Hokkaido are very important. We can cover most of the export. And 60 companies' products are exported from these areas. And pap and mother based company products are exported to US as well. So there are several issues in a pandemic situation. One of them is freight cost. So now freight cost is very high. It is now tripled that of in the past. Recently, it became a little bit mitigated. So, but Japan container companies has been in debt, and the 3 companies are merged to make a company named One. And now, but still, the freight cost does not decrease. So the company One in Japan, their freight is highest in the world, and the companies in the United States do not want to use the company. So as for the Japan, economic power became weaker right now. So many ships do not stop at the port in Japan. North American route. So the Japan's share is only 2%. So before it was 30% or something, but unfortunately, sadly, our competitiveness decreased, and our share is only 2%. And also, the foreign currency exchange rate is another important factor for our businesses. So after the weather forecast, the foreign currency exchange rate is broadcasted on TV. It is fluctuating very fervently in some cases during COVID-19 pandemic. So face-to-face meeting is difficult, and we use online system. So we need the IT skills and knowledge to do online business meetings. So our effort for expansion of export of the primary industry product for post-pandemic. Firstly, we have to create added value, including processed food, and we have to increase competitiveness by optimization of the sales channel. So we don't have to depend on company One. We can use foreign companies' freight. So the value of the company or the strength of the company is being tested. So what kind of supply chain is to be used is a key. And also in Kagoshima, there are good qualities of product from the material to the processed food, that we can take good care. But to which countries we have to export, that we have to consider this kind of issues. Another important point is the establishment of Kagoshima brand. I don't have enough time right now, but 2 weeks ago. So actually, Shibushi, I was a lecturer in the Shibushi port related to symposium or the meeting, and I proposed to use Shibushi port as a global port. For example, in the port in Singapore, I visited the port 20 years ago. There was nothing, but the construction started to make a port, and 10 million PEU is now handled in that port right now. So how about Japan? Tokyo, Yokohama, 7 million, and Osaka port, 5 million only. So the port in Malaysia, they handle their own country's product. So the port functions as an international hub port. Shibushi port faces the Pacific Ocean, so we can make Shibushi port to be international hub port. This is the port of Tanjung, or Malaysia Johor, Port Tanjung. And this one of the branch activities of the JICA, Youth International Corporation. So the return to the local communities is one of the missions. And PR is our key. As a part of PR activities, the Binyan High School and high school student in Kagoshima, 15 students are dispatched as Youth International Corporation volunteers. And the mass communication staff will be with them. And students experience homestay for 4 nights. So through various experience of the students, what they learn will be returned to the local community, and this is a good opportunity for them to reflect themselves. Now, to 7 countries, our students are dispatched. In the past, 362 students are dispatched. And again, they may visit other countries as Youth International Corporation volunteers. Again, during those experiences, they can find something new. For example, during the homestay in the Sulawesi Island in Indonesia, I experienced a homestay there, and I took care of the student in the same village as well. And I called the name of student, the name of one student, and the student started crying because the student felt lonely because he didn't understand any language. She didn't understand any language, but he could hear Japanese language, and she started crying. And since the mass communication staff was with them, and she was asked why you cried, and she felt that humiliated, and she studied the languages of other countries. So what kind of activities are being done in the JICA or in the Youth International Cooperation groups should be reported more. He is a high school student in Cambodia. Since there is a freshwater pipeline, they use rains. And since there is no washing machine, they used this tool. So during a 4-night stay, the Japanese student experienced this kind of things. Here shows Kagoshima Prefecture Youth International Cooperation Experience Program. Next year marked the 30th anniversary. I want to realize these activities in the next year. And lastly, here is a message to students. Now, Japan is being internationalized. So the internal internationalization is important. It means that the understanding other people's values and getting rid of discrimination, we have to understand the foreign countries' culture, language, and religions. So that's something the student can experience in the volunteer activities. So there are 40 chances a year to join those activities. And as Takaneshi Sensei said, we have to be proud of being Japanese, even the world of internationalization. And think global, act locally is an important mindset. We want students or people to make it into practice. So be active. This is a message to the student. And Darwin's evolution theory, it's not true that stronger and bigger creatures can survive. It's not true. The evolutionary, environmentally adaptable ones can survive. So without being afraid of changes, we have to be always proactive. So in this globe, how Kagoshima make effort should be something that we have to consider as well. And we have to consider aging society with less children as well. And lastly, this is the coffee beans produced in Kagoshima in my backyard. Actually, this coffee plant is grown. So, but 1 cup of coffee may be very expensive. But in COP27, the important issues are discussed. In Kagoshima, tropical plants or crops can be grown, which is another important point that you have to keep in mind. Thank you very much for your attention. Mr. Yumiba, thank you very much for your inspirational speech. And I'm sorry that you experienced the sound problem. So we will have another break. We will restart at 10:03. Sorry, 11:03. We have 5 minutes break. We resume the next session at 11:03. Mr. Yumiba, thank you very much.
Okay, now I'm afraid that someone's mic is on, so please turn off your microphone, please. Please turn off your microphone. Please turn off your microphone. From now on, I'd like to invite two people who participated in our international exchange program. Two people who participated in international exchange program and were active in the society. The first one is Ms. Intan Plamesti Lochana. Ms. Intan joined international exchange program from 2015 for 1 year and studied at Kagoshima University, and she is now working in nature as an architect. From now, consecutive interpretation from English to Japanese is available. So let me turn off interpretation function. Turn off interpretation function now. So those who are using interpretation service, please shift to original mode.
通訳の皆様もご準備よろしいでしょうか? So, Intan-san, are you ready to come? Thank you. I can see you.
Good morning.
皆さんおはようございます。
So it's time, no? Okay, first I want to share the screen.
まず画面をシェアさせてください。
I'm sorry, it's still disabled to share the screen. I'm sorry, I need allowance to disable.
共有が今できない状況です。
はい。Can you see my screen now?
今スクリーン見えておりますでしょうか?
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ohayo gozaimasu, minasan. It's an honor to have the opportunity to address such a distinguished audience. I'd like, first of all, to thank the organizer of this symposium for inviting me today, Miki Namba Sensei and the team, and also Jun Kikata Sensei as my supervisor while studying at the Department of Architecture and Architectural Engineering at Kagoshima University.
皆さんおはようございます。本日はこのような素晴らしい皆様の前でお話しする機会を得て非常に光栄に存じます。まずはシンポジウムの主催者であり、私に本日お声掛けいただきました南波美希先生にお礼を申し上げます。そしてまた木方淳先生、私が鹿児島大学工学部建築学科でこの勉強してした際に指導教員として面倒を見てくださいました木方淳先生にもお礼を申し上げます。
Let me introduce myself. I'm Intan Pramesti Rohana, an alumna of the exchange student program at Kagoshima University from April 2015 until February 2016. And now I'm living in Semarang, Central Java, Indonesia as an architect and urban designer.
まずは簡単に自己紹介です。インターンプラメスティ・ロチャナと申します。私はこの鹿児島大学の交換留学プログラムの卒業生です。大学には2015年4月から2016年2月まで在籍しておりました。現在はインドネシアの中部ジャワ州スマラン市に住んでおりまして、建築家、都市デザイナーとして働いております。
As you can see on the screen, I would like to share my point of view as a student who experienced study abroad at Kagoshima University, Japan. And what I intend to do is to describe to you my experience during my study abroad and the impact after the program.
このスライドにありますけれども、本日私が鹿児島大学で留学生活を送った一生徒としての観点からお話したいと思います。また、この留学中に経験したこと、そして留学プログラムの後の影響、インパクトについてもお話したいと考えています。
I've divided my presentation into three main parts. First, I'd like to give you an overview of my activities during the exchange student program. Secondly, I will focus on the impacts consisting of the challenge and the benefits of the program. And lastly, my final thoughts from the study abroad experience.
このスライドにありますように、本日のプレゼンは3つに分けてお話しします。まずは、交換留学プログラム中の活動の概要、そして2番目としては、この留学中で大変だったこと、そしてメリットなどを含めたインパクトについてお話しするとともに、最後にこの交換留学における感想や思いについてお話したいと思います。
First, let me give you a brief overview of my activities during the exchange program, mainly academic ones. I was placed in Kikata's laboratory to participate in seminar once a week and learn how to conduct research and write a report for final year students. I also took several classes to understand better about the educational system and enable me to transfer my credit when I returned to my home university.
まずは、交換留学中の活動を学業面を中心に簡単にお話しします。木方研究室に所属しまして、週1回ゼミに参加し、最終学年の研究方法ですとか、レポートの書き方などを学びました。また、教育制度をよく知るために、いくつか授業を受け、帰国後、このリポネゴの大学に戻った時に単位を移行することができました。
One of the most unforgettable experiences was participating in workshop in Koyama, Kimotsukicho for 5 days. It was a joint project between Kagoshima University and Tuskegee University, Alabama, America.
忘れがたい経験の一つとしては、肝付町の高山で行われたワークショップがあります。5日間のワークショップだったんですが、鹿児島大学とアラバマにあるタスケーギ大学の共同プロジェクトでした。
I will explain more about the Koyama workshop experience. This workshop aims to develop a deeper cultural understanding of the two countries through design. Our study case is in Koyama and Kanoya Kimotsukicho, which has many historic areas and beautiful landscapes, yet striving with declining economic activity.
高山ワークショップの体験について少し詳しくお話しします。このワークショップの目的は、デザインを通じて両国の文化的な理解を深めることで、肝付町の高山と鹿屋で行われました。この非常に美しい地域になります。この地域の主な課題としては、経済活動の衰退がありました。
We were divided into 5 groups, each group consisting of students from Kagoshima University and Tuskegee University. And we have 3 assignments, as you can see. First, to make development plan and to create revitalization design and a build renovation design. After we finish, we present our result at Kimotsuki City Hall to the local government and residents.
私たちですが、鹿児島大学とタスケーギ大学の学生で構成される5つのグループに分かれました。課題は3つありました。開発計画の立案、あらかじめ選ばれた空き地の再生デザイン、そしてリノベーションデザインです。その後、行政や住民に向けた報告会で成果を発表する必要がありました。
I'd like to point out 1 or 2 interesting details from this workshop. We have only 3 days to discuss before the final public presentation. And during this limited time, I've learned so many things throughout the discussion process.
一部を少し詳しくお話しします。 報告会までのディスカッションに避けるのはわずかに3日間だったんですが、この限られた時間でディスカッションを通して本当に多くのことを学びました。
I learned the problem-solving process, which helped me develop my critical thinking skills through the actual problem at the project site. I learned to understand other people's perspective and ways of thinking, which led me to be a more tolerant, empathetic, and open-minded person. I also learned how collaboration could produce innovation and efficient outcomes through an exchange of ideas.
問題解決のプロセスを身につけ、プロジェクトの現場での実際の問題を通じて、批判的な思考力を養うことができました。また、他の人の視点ですとか考え方を理解することができるようになり、以前よりも寛容になり、相手に共感できるようになり、また心が広くなりました。そしてアイデアを出し合うことでコラボレーションがどれほどイノベーションを起こし効率的な成果を生み出すかということも学びました。
For example, the result from the discussion of my group, as you can see in the picture on the right side, we decided to design the vacant lot in the Honmachi areas as a recreational space for the surrounding community that has a community garden, footpaths, a children's play area, and a pavilion. Tuskegee University students proposed a community garden, which is originally from America, and while Kagoshima University students suggest footpaths or ASU, which is a popular relaxation in Japan. This kind of knowledge I got from exchanging ideas between two countries.
例えばこの事例では A グループの話し合いの結果、スライドの右側にありますけれども、本町地区の空き地を周辺地域の憩いの場としてデザインすることにし、コミュニティガーデン、足湯、子どもの遊び場などを設計することにしました。タスケーゲ大学の学生はアメリカ発祥のコミュニティガーデンを提案し、鹿児島大学の学生は日本でリラクゼーションとして人気のある足湯を提案しました。こういった知識を入国間の意見交換で得ることができました。
Moreover, from this workshop, I was able to practice as an architect in the professional career field, learning from the expertise, interacting with clients, getting the opportunity to participate in the community development process, and many experiences that can improve my skills as well.
さらに建築家としての実践の場を得ることができました。専門知識から学ぶことですとか、クライアントとやり取りすること、そういったこと、さまざまなものが私の能力の向上につながりました。
Moving on. Improving your skill does not come without challenge. From my point of view, studying overseas comes with its own set of challenge. Here are some challenges during my study abroad that I experienced myself.
スキルを向上するには困難がつきものです。思いますが、海外留学には困難というものがつきものなのです。留学中に苦労したことをまずお話しします。
First, I must encounter some difficulties because of language barriers. Most of the classes that I took at Kagoshima University used Japanese as an intermediate language. Matching the pace, accent, and tone of the native Japanese is also a bit more challenging. Therefore, it requires much effort to understand what the instruction of the course are about clearly.
まずは言語の壁で苦労しました。鹿児島大学で履修した授業のほとんどは日本語を中間言語としていました。別に日本語の授業もあったんですけれども、ネイティブの日本人のペースですとかアクセント、口調についていくのが大変でした。そのため、授業中の指示をはっきりと理解するにはかなりの努力が必要でした。
Also difficulties because of cultural barriers. In the early phase, I found myself much affected by the sudden shift in culture, whether in daily basis tests and the teaching style from university. Especially in architecture, my field, we need to study in a fast pace and meet critical project deadlines.
文化の壁もありました。 留学当初は突然の文化の違いに知らないうちに大きく影響を受けていました。日常的なことや大学での教え方も含めてです。特に私の専門である建築の分野では、早いペースで勉強をして、課題の期限を遵守する必要がありました。
Other challenge that I faced in my daily life included dietary and health issues, climate uncertainties, and the feeling of being homesick. Though there seems like many difficulties during study abroad, it's just about your ability to work hard and persevere through challenge to prove yourself.
その他には日常生活で直面した困難があります。例えば食事や健康に関すること、また気候がよくわからないということ、そしてホームシックです。留学中は大変なことが多いと思われるかもしれませんが、自分の能力を発揮するために努力し、困難に負けないでいられるかどうかが鍵となります。
And now, let's now move on the benefit from study abroad. There are plenty of benefits to studying abroad, but I want to focus on the long-term benefit that highly contributes to my career.
では、留学のメリットに話を移します。留学中、そして留学後の人生にも大きな影響を与えるようなメリットがたくさんありますが、中でも特に長期的に私個人のキャリアに大きな影響を与えたものもお話ししたいと思います。
First, investment in my career and education. Ever since having studying experience in international environment, improved my studying habits and evoked me to continue my education and graduate school. I continued pursuing graduate school at the Urban Design, Bandung Institute of Technology in 2019 and recently graduated. The study abroad experiences also increased my opportunity to get accepted into one of the most prestigious universities in Asia.
まず、最初ですけれども、自分のキャリアと教育への投資ということです。国際的な環境に身を置いて学習とした、そういった経験を通じまして、自分の学習習慣が改善されました。そして、大学院の進学を決意しました。2019年にバンドン工科大学大学院都市計画研究科に進学し、最近卒業しました。留学したことでアジアで最も有名な大学の一つに合格する機会も手にしたということです。
My research topic is about conservation and revitalization in the heritage area. I've got so many inspiration from my workshop in Koyama, and these experiences are unintentionally stored as subconscious memory, which can be used whenever I'm stuck and need inspiration. Without this kind of experience, my knowledge and inspiration may be limited.
私の研究テーマは歴史的な地域、遺産地域の保存と活性化についてでした。高山でのワークショップから多くのインスピレーションを得ていました。様々な経験が知らず知らずのうちに潜在意識に蓄積されて、行き詰まった時ですとか、インスピレーションが必要な時にいつでも引き出せるようになっています。こういったもの、もし留学経験がなければ、もしかしたら知識ですとか、インスピレーションのストックも限られているのかもしれません。
Secondly, a good resume for personal branding can give a stronger credibility and confidence in looking for a job prospect. To illustrate this, let's have a closer look at my milestone graphic. Studying abroad gave me a significant milestone in my career. After I graduated, I got a job at Wisma Karman Inc., one of the best architecture and urban design consultant in Semarang City, Indonesia. And now I'm currently working in the government office as a supervisor for the implementation of public works.
2つ目です。パーソナルブランディングにおいて箔がつきますので、より良い仕事を探す上で信頼性を高めて自信を与えてくれます。こちらのスライドが示しているのは私のマイルストーンです。留学は大きな節目となりました。卒業後、スマラン市で最高のコンサルタントの一つ、ウィスワカーマンインクに就職しまして、建築と都市設計のプロジェクトを担当しました。そして今は行政で公共事業の実施に関わるスーパーバイザーをしています。
Lastly, networking, and professional development. As you can see here, even though this program I experienced almost 6 years ago, Kagoshima University is still welcome and maintaining a good relationship with me as an alumna, and I was able to talk in front of all you in this symposium.
最後に人脈づくりと専門性の向上です。交換留学プログラムに参加しましたのは6年ほど前のことになるんですが、鹿児島大学は今でも私を卒業生として歓迎してくださり、いい関係を維持しています。そのおかげもありまして、本日皆さんの前でお話ししているわけです。
As a final point, I want to share my final thoughts from this study abroad experience. There are a lot of experiences that are as transformative to my development as a student from studying abroad. Complete immersion in another culture heightens cultural sensitivities and open up my perspective to the world culture richness. And studying abroad increases my competitiveness as a job seeker after graduating.
最後になります。留学に関するまとめです。留学は様々な経験を通して学生としての私の成長に大きな変化をもたらしてくれたと思っています。異文化にどっぷりと浸かることで文化的な感受性が高まり、世界の文化の豊かさに目を向けることができるようになりました。また、卒業後の就職活動でも留学は有利になったと思っています。
There are also many challenges from studying in Kagoshima. Nevertheless, I discover how much I adore my new home in Kagoshima when I'd overcome those obstacles. Now, after many years, I miss the local, the cuisine, and many simple daily things such as riding bicycle in Kagoshima University. Kagoshima University will be left in my heart and mind forever.
鹿児島での留学にはいろいろ大変なこともあるにはあったんですけれども、それらを乗り越えたとき、新しい故郷となった鹿児島が大好きになっていました。ずいぶん経った今も鹿児島の人や料理、そして大学に自転車で通うといった数々の日常の些細なことまでも懐かしく思っています。鹿児島大学は私の心の中にいつまでも残っています。
Thank you for your attention. I hope you will have gained an insight into my studying abroad experience. どうもありがとうございました。
ご清聴ありがとうございました。私の留学経験から何かを学び取っていただければ幸いです。ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much, Internさん。That was fantastic. それではちょっとすいません。音声の関係でこちらから話させていただきますけれども、ここからオンラインで参加されている皆様、再び通訳システムをオンにさせていただきますので、英語でお聞きになりたい方は通訳の方で英語を選択するようによろしくお願いいたします。そうしましたら次は中道さんから。
Okay, so from now, I'd like to invite Nakamichi-san. Please wait for a moment.
Thank you very much, Intan-san. So I'm going to call you back to the discussion time. So please stay online. はい、そうしましたら次は。
Okay. Next speaker is Nakamichi-san. Ms. Narumi Nakamichi, while studying at Kagoshima University, she joined an exchange program with Taiwan and graduated from the Faculty of Law, Economics and Humanities in 2018, and now she works at a special school in Kagoshima Prefecture.
Thank you. very much for your kind introduction, and I'd like to extend my deepest thank you to Morita Sensei, who took good care of me when I visited the overseas country. And it's very rare for me to speak in front of this big audience. So in 2018, I graduated from the course of Humanities, Department of Law, Economics, and Humanities. I'm Narumi Nakamichi. After the graduation, I have worked for a school for special needs in Kagoshima Prefecture. I'm now working for a special needs school in Kirishima City, where the temperature is lower. Here is higher, though, in charge of the second year class of junior high school. So usually I'm talking to the second year student of junior high school student. My voice is too loud because of that. So in this university, I studied in Japan and Asia course, currently course of area and cultural studies, belonging to a seminar of Occidental history. So this is about trainings in Taiwan. I participated in trainings in Taiwan. These trainings in the summer of my fourth year. I exchanged with a student with Chengkun University, Kaohsiung University of Technology, introducing Japanese culture and field working based on my interest. So I am introducing Japanese culture here. So I felt that how difficult it is to convey what I feel. So I only partially conveyed what I wanted to say. But all of them welcomed me very warmly, and I experienced a very precious time there with them. That we are doing field work in the pair of the student of Kaohsiung University. So actually, as for the field work, I was partnered with a Kaohsiung University student engaged in activities all day long without Morita Sensei. So this shows the before and after the training participation. So before the participation, I had a little knowledge about Taiwan. I felt Taiwan would be good, but I just wanted to finish my thesis and graduate from the university. I didn't have any intention to go abroad, and my English was not good. And my academic score of Chinese language was not good, so I barely managed to pass the end of seminar exam. So I couldn't imagine I would go to Taiwan at that time. But after the participation, I came to want to know more about Taiwan. So I want to live in Taiwan. So although I was the fourth year student, too late, but I wanted to experience the exchange student life there. And my Chinese was not good to be communicated with them. So I wanted to speak Chinese at a daily conversation level. Also, I had an intention to work overseas as well. Through the field work, I and Sho-san from Kaohsiung University became a good friend. We are at the same age and are contacting each other now. And when I visited Taiwan, we play together. So please look at the top picture, the right top. You can see Sho-san. and with Kaohsiung University student, and I are in the picture, the bottom right. In the field work, I learned. I was interested in religion of Taiwan, and I visited the temples with Shosan. And after starting to work, still, I sometimes visit Taiwan temples in Taiwan. I stayed there for 30 minutes and I watched the activities of people in the local area, places. So when after starting to work, I couldn't have holidays, but summer holidays, winter holidays. So during before pandemic, I went to Taiwan for 2 or 3 weeks. And I tried to break the barrier, language barrier. I studied Chinese by using YouTube. And also, I used an interpretation application to communicate with Taiwanese. I teach Chinese to them, Japanese to them, and I learned Chinese from them. So I am still learning Chinese. And Shosan and other friends that we still have the interchange by using language application, interpretation application. So these pictures are taken when I visited Taiwan alone. So my favorite menus are shown: noodle farm, a pineapple cake, and Taiwan breakfast, dumpling, or chicken. So I ate a lot. Here shows the pictures taken at the places that I visited, like a government journal of Taiwan or Taipei 101. And the top one is a picture taken in Kaohsiung. When I visited Kaohsiung, I took a bullet train or local train. So this is a picture that I met Shosan again. I visited Taiwan many times, and I started to be able to help Japanese tourists to order menus. And when I found Japanese people with some difficulty, I tried to help them. And some person wanted to order tapioca milk tea, and I helped the person to order tapioca milk tea. This is my current job. So at the school for special needs, what I learned cannot be easily utilized. I feel like that. And when I started working, I was worried about the gap between what I wanted to do and my work, actual work. But so in seasonal events like a Christmas or mid-autumn festival or mother festival or father festival, so I introduced those events to children. And in the year when I was in charge of foreign language, in the preparation study of exchange with ALTs, I introduced the Chinese language. So actually, when I am in charge of LT, conversation with them is a must. In the past, when I talked with foreigners, I was nervous. But during learning foreign languages, I overcame the nervousness currently. So while I was appealing my enthusiasm for Taiwan, I became a kind of Taiwan icon. Talking about Taiwan, it's Nakamichi-san. So that's the image that everybody has about me. So, and I still continue to exchange with Taiwanese friends. And I want to increase Taiwanese friend even more and to brush up my Chinese to be able to live in Taiwan without language problem. I want to improve my language. And I want to give international contribution as an educator. I want to work as a JICA overseas volunteer in Japanese schools. So although the probability to be dispatched to Taiwan is low, still in any countries, I want to feel the culture there. And also to my Taiwanese friend, I said, I'm working at a special needs school. She said, that you are great to me. According to the culture of each country, people's idea about disorder or people for special needs are different. So I am now interested in special needs schools overseas, including education. So if I can have a chance, I want to increase my knowledge more. And in regard to my age and family condition, it is difficult for me to work overseas now, though I want to try what I can try. So I want to continue my challenges from now on. So the lastly, I am there to give message to the student. So after completing the educational training, I went to Taiwan. So I didn't have enough time to have another chance to learn more. So if you have some interest in studying overseas, please do it now. When you start working, it's difficult for you to take holidays. And once you started working, it is difficult to take a long vacation. And when your position is higher, it is even more difficult to go overseas. You may hesitate to apply for the holidays. So please do it whenever you are interested in learning overseas or ever you are interested in. Thank you very much for your attention. That's all from me. Nakamichi-san, thank you very much for your interesting story. And then we will go into Q&A session and discussion session. And please wait for a while for preparation. During that preparation time, please consider your questions. And for those who participate online, please write your questions or comments via chat box. English, Japanese, both are okay. So when you describe your questions or method, please make sure that your destination to be all.
ちょっと時間が押しているんですけれども、申し訳ございませ
So
ん。
we are delayed. We are behind the schedule. Presenters, please be seated in front. So because of the adjustment of the sound, presenters and the people on the floor, please speak to the iPad which was provided. Please cooperate. So we will receive your questions. Now, from the floor, do you have any questions? If nothing, please wait. So we will bring the iPad to you.
お話いただいてありがとうございました。
Thank you for your presentations. It will be very informative. Thank you.
ごめんなさい。他の方のなんかこう深い質問が出てからしたいちょっとしょうもない質問だったんですけど。
I'm afraid this will be a very simple question. I'm afraid.
商品としてさつまいもとか、
So Yumiba-san, so you're handling sweet potatoes, beef as a trading item. So I believe that there are lots of diseases about animals or cows and so on. So I think it might be difficult to export products in a stable manner. So I wonder whether a poor harvest or how much a poor harvest impact trading or export business. So do you have any countermeasures to mitigate such impact?
はい、ありがとうございます。
Thank you for your question.
そうですね。まずさつまいもの無毒腐れ病ですけども。
So apart sweet potato related disease,
言われてるほど収穫減には陥ってません。
actually that doesn't cause any drop of harvest. This year's harvest might be better than last year. So in that sense, we didn't have big impact. And the plant quarantine is essential or is mandatory for the export. And at the time, and the soil or other inspections are conducted. And after passing such inspection with certificate, we are allowed to export our products. And as for beef, animal quarantine is conducted, and the processing or slaughtering are conducted in a designated factory. And also each country has its own rule. And when it comes to slaughtering factory or processing country of beef, Kagoshima is #1 in Japan. And Kagoshima has the longest history. A5. So beef has its rank from starting from A1 to A5, and A5 is the highest quality one. And in order to increase the export of A5, we focus on, or many companies focus on A5 rank. But recently, there is a tendency that people also favor the red meat and so on. And as for beef, US beef and Australian Wagyu are available, and they are very cheaper than that of Japanese, Malaysia, Singapore. Local people favors Australian Wagyu, and which account for vast amount of the beef market. And bird flu affects the export of chicken eggs. And it might be difficult for us to export chicken eggs from Kagoshima to abroad. So based on the past experiences, we are facing the difficult situation in terms of this export business, this kind of export business.
I'm Hashiguchi from medical school. Thank you very much for your great talk. I was greatly encouraged. So there are several questions. This question is to Mr. Nakamichi. So Nakamichi-san, so the input, you said that there are different ideas for people for special needs. So the situations are different in each country, and I experienced the same thing. For example, when I talk with a patient with difficulty in their foot or legs, when this person said that when he go to the official facility, the person is treated as a handicapped person always. But in Norwegian countries or the North West European countries, so when the people get bus, the only at that time point they are treated as a handicapped. But other than that, not. The situation is different. So the person I talked with said that normally the person didn't have any problem. So only when needed the help should be given and treated as a handicapped person. So the Nakamichi-san said that the situation is different as far as the how the people regard the handicapped people. The situation is different in each country. What is your actual experience? So the difference that I felt is that when I talked with a Taiwanese friend, the handicapped people did something bad in their previous life. So, but in Japan, we don't have such a thinking way. Maybe this may be only me, but the idea was very new to me. So when I heard the opinion, maybe the opinions or the image of the people for special needs or handicapped people may be different in each country. Actually, she was a branchier of the JICA overseas corporation. So in the previous life and inheritance, so if there is a handicapped person in the family, the family members do not want to show the handicapped person to outside people. So, but in the past 20 years, so although we wanted to dispatch people, there was no request came because the families tried to hide handicapped people because they were afraid of discrimination. That's the thinking way of the Chinese-based people in the past. No voice is coming. Thank you very much. And we received one question online to Professor Takanashi. So in
So SNB, I wonder whether SNBJ has some scholarship or financial support to those students who like to study abroad. Thank you for your question. So far, there is no special framework. There is no special framework about the financial support or scholarship. So actually, a person, we had a communication opportunity to talk with the people in Bhutan. In Bhutan, there is a very famous person who made a big contribution there, and the person had a title, official title there. And that's why local people are very attentive and have affinity to Japanese people. And then we decided to help agriculture, forestry, and the fishery industry of Bhutan. And we invited 2 people from there to the University of Kagoshima, and finally they did doctor's degrees in the university and before returning to their country. And they contributed to the local industry. I'm afraid there is no specific mechanism or for financial support to those who like to study overseas. But if you contact us, if you're lucky enough, you might receive some kind of support or anything. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your answer. One more thing from online.
To SNBC. So this is a comment. In the borderless world, active cooperation at Kagoshima for people were taught by Mr. Takanashi. So the expression of people is impressive to me. So in Japan, we try to improve education. Also for the higher education, human resources, the word human resources is used, but it is just like a material. So the people have to be regarded as they are very important, the existence. So I am from the kindergarten educational field. So it's the time to revere people. So the mission or I talked about the missions but based on the medical field. But recently I believe that I should be happy. You should be happy. We have to create a society where everybody is happy. So this is a recent mission for our company right now. And I talked about the stakeholders in my presentation, but all the people have to help each other. So everybody has to be happy. That's our mission right now. So the latest policy of our company. Thank you very much. Other questions or comments? Nakatani Sensei, please.
Hello. So maybe I should hesitate from asking, but I'd like to make a question. Question to Umiba-san. In the 1980s, you decided to start your business to increase job in Kagoshima, as you said. So at the time, you focused on the export of agricultural products. I want to know the background, why you decided to focus on the export of agricultural products back then. This is the first question. And the related question is to Takanashi-san. After the expansion of the company, or in order to expand the company, then maybe you focused on social needs to expand business while contributing to the society, but making a profit is very important to continue your business. So needs and profit are conflicting each other, I think. But I wonder how to strike a balance between needs and profit when you start business. I'd like to know your thoughts and experience about these questions. Back then, I believe that even though the value or the amount was very small, but I think agricultural products would be number one. And when I returned to Japan, I didn't have any knowledge and experience about trading. And I was wondering what would be the strongest part of Kagoshima, and at the time, agriculture. That's why I decided to focus on agriculture products. Of course, back then there was no internet available, so I contacted JETRO, Export and Trading Organization, and searched directory. And I found a word, bamboo. And I decided to write a letter to the company. This company. Actually, I sent a letter to about over 100 companies to see their interest, but almost all the companies said no, we didn't have any interest. While by repeating such correspondence, I narrowed down my focus while gaining our knowledge and experiences.
So firstly, as for the profit, the balance is necessary, but so in the CEO, of course, IPO, the company is listed, and we have to consider about the return to the shareholders. It's the idea of the US investment world, and we have NPO and NPO of the schools and Bhutan consular related to business. So we have various business outside of the companies or the business to pursue for the profit. So we have to consider about the relationship with the people who pursue high profitability, and we have to consider about rolling the money to do businesses. But there is no shareholders, no need for the dividend in such a cases. But business themselves are useful. So whether our businesses are useful for other people or not, that's the important point that we have to consider. So simply speaking, that's how we feel and what we consider. So we are doing many businesses simultaneously. So we have this kind of a simple idea. And in the medical field and the school, the including profitable businesses, and there are few people who are bridging with medicine. So the role playing, the role sharing, and the role that we have to take should be considered. So there are many companies who already contribute to the society. So we want to fill the gaps in the society. Sorry, I want to add something. So I said 10 million, I saved 10 million yen at first. And after 2 years, it became 1 million. So without a certain vision, especially you cannot do the startup business. So for example, as for the cooperation activities in Indonesia, people want to have a dream, but they cannot. But in Japan, we can have a dream. Even if without money, we can do something. We are not starving in Japan. So not only for money, but for something which may be visions or dreams. Without those visions and dreams, we cannot pursue our way. So just sustaining our life is not enough. So in the very base, we have to pursue what we value the most. That's what I have been pursuing for. Thank you very much. Then it's time to finish this session. I will end the Q&A session. So the planner of this symposium, Mr. Professor Hamanaka and Kikata. So I asked them to be on the stage, but we didn't have enough time to ask them to speak out. I'm sorry, but thank you for your participation anyway. Please give them a big round of applause. And then lastly, the Unedaya advisory to the president. We will have the closing remarks from her. Please wait for a while. Are you ready? If you are, please start. Sorry. Now there is a technical problem. So please restart. I'm sorry. I'd like to extend my appreciation for your attendance today to you. So this is our first time hybrid meeting, and I'm sorry for your inconvenience because of the technical problems, including the microphones or voice adjustment. And Mr. Takanishi and Yumimashi, Intern-san and Nakamichi-san, thank you very much for your precious talks, especially Mr. Takanishi and Mr. Yumima. So we learned the actual situation in businesses. So that they create something out of nothing. We heard the very concrete activities from them, which stimulated us. So there are various elements in this world. So I learned them. So this is happening in the universities on other environment, and in universities, the mobilities or a method of education or cross-border online education. So the borderless solutions are necessary, and the structure of the university themselves may be changed. There's a possibility for that. So in that situation, Mr. Yumiba claimed the internal internationalization. And actually, from 2000 in the European countries in education, internationalization at home has been propagated. And so there are many students who do not study abroad, but for them, we can give the similar experience by changing curriculum, and from Europe to America and to Japan. These kind of changes have been happening. So there are some common parts that I feel, but those two presenters focused on the capabilities necessary for a student. So there are common key points spoken by two speakers. So the critical thinking way and generosity or cooperation, teamwork, and be active, take action. So those are important points, the messages to the student. So the way of expressions of the word may be different, but the points are the same. So that we say them the global competence. So we call them also generic skills. So the also 21st century type skills are behaviors, are activities, and power to continue to learn. So with ambitions, we have to take actions or behave. So the concrete activities of the corporations were introduced by two presenters. So we found, we recognized those important key points. And from Intan-san and Nakamichi-san, as far as the exchange with overseas students, they talked to us about the impact that they experienced, negative impact and positive impact. So even though there were negative impact, they overcame negative impact to change them into positive impact. So in this modelless world, it can be a flat world or lateral world. But now we are facing the unprecedented crisis, so exceeding the limit of the potential of the Earth. We have had the Lateral program, including the invasion of Russia. So in this situation, so well-being, everybody to be happy, to be healthy, to enjoy their lives. So those are the missions for us citizens. We have to pursue those missions. So in this global situation, in the borderless society, we have to adapt ourselves. And we have to nurture the talent. So that's my finding in this symposium. So that in this small symposium, if this small symposium can be for us at the turning point of human history and trigger to think about the power of local global communities and the potential. This is my hope for the future. Again, let me extend my hearty gratitude to today's speakers and audience. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your closing remarks. Ms. Unedaya. Now we are closing the first part of Inter-University Exchange Project, International Symposium 2022. So we want to take pictures. At first, as I said, today we have the second session. So we look back the past 5 years as far as the global development, power improvement. So we will have presentations and discussions done by teachers of each courses in this room. On the same Zoom meeting room online, we'll restart the second session at 1 o'clock. Sorry, 1:15. 1:15, we will resume we will start the second session at 1:15. So the presenters was a panelist in the second session. Please be ready at 1:15. And the participant, if you have time, please join so that we want to have your input for the way that Kagoshima universities have to go through. And please answer the questionnaires as well. And lastly, to the presenters and each of today's participants, and to show our greatest gratitude, I would like to give them a big round of applause. Thank you very much for your participation.